Okay, now let's try this question. This first question. Okay. The sum of three consecutive numbers is 36. Find the numbers. Now, the most important word here that we need to take note of is that word consecutive. I've already explained in the last video that we need to understand the words in order for us to be able to solve the question properly. Now, for this first question, there are keywords there that we need to note: sum and consecutive. Sum and consecutive. Now, sum means to add. Sum means to add. You add one number to another number. That is what? Sum. Consecutive means to follow each other continuously or to follow one another in an uninterrupted order. They follow each other. There is no interruption. For example, numbers such as 1, 2, 3, 4 follow each other without any distortion. There is no form of break. You have 1 and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Now, these numbers are consecutive because they follow each other. They follow each other. So they are consecutive. Now, understanding that word consecutive is key. So knowing consecutive alone gives you an edge. And then you break down your question. And then you solve your question. And then you just be so, everything will just be smooth. Everything will be smooth. But if you don't note the important words and understand the important words in any word problem, then the problem becomes a real problem. The problem really becomes a real problem when you default to comprehend some words in that question. For this particular question now, we have been able to understand perfectly that consecutive means following each other. Following each other. Now we know sum means to add, plus addition. You add together. You add together. So the sum of three consecutive numbers, according to our question, is 36. Now we have been asked what? Find the number. Ow. With the understanding of what consecutive means and what sum means, we can now go ahead. We can now go ahead to attempt to solve our question. Now, they said three numbers. So we can start by mentioning the first number. And the first number now is going to be a letter. Always use a letter to replace the number that is the unknown. In most cases in mathematics, you'll be hearing x, 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 find x. You can use any letter. It must not be x. It can be N, it can be Q, it can be R, it can be A, it can be B, it can be D, it can be E, it can be F, it can be G. It can be any of these letters.